So your project is to design and create a building using modular paper construction. And if you're asking yourself, well, what is modular construction, Miss O? It just means a series of parts coming together or a series of forms that come together to make an entire structure. So here you can see this building has been broken apart into different pieces. These repeating forms would be considered a module. So that's one form that's being used, built up to make a whole. So I could start with something as simple as this. I could make this. I could make another and stack it on top, then another and another, flipping it here. So I'm still using that same form, building, and adding, and I could keep using this process to eventually build something whole. One benefit to using modular construction is that it helps things remain stable. So having those parts be decided ahead of time and then built in a solid way is going to help give a lot of stability to your structure, to your final structures. The form that you're using as the basis for your modular construction could be any form. It could be a pyramid, it could be some sort of cylinder, it could be a sphere, it could really be any form, and it could be organic or it can be geometric. You can also combine different ones together. So while here I'm using repetition, and that's definitely one strategy, you can use repetition within different shapes. So some of you noticed in your architect research that some architects used organic shapes and geometric shapes. So they had some areas that were really linear and had a lot of geometric modular forms, and then other ones that had it with more organic shapes but still working modularly. So before I keep talking too much about construction, first we need to design the actual building. So your building can definitely be inspired by one of the architects that you were looking up, and I would encourage you to do additional research if you find some buildings that really inspire you. That being said, it must be completely your own. Now, to choose what your building might look like, I'm asking you to use one of the following words as your inspiration, as your design inspiration: the twist, the slice, the bend, the stack, the wave, the fold, the wheel, and the peak. Hopefully all of these words conjure up some sort of image in your head, at least as a starting point. So the slice, the bend, all those things refer to the spine, at least to me. And so hopefully those will give you some place to start. If you have another word that you feel strongly about, you could use that too, but otherwise I would stick with these. Your buildings will be made entirely of paper, and they must be at least 5 stories tall. And before you freak out, like 5 stories tall, a story will be anywhere from a half an inch to an inch, so pretty small. So in the end, you should have a building that is maybe about 5 inches tall, but of course it can be bigger. I would encourage you to make it bigger, but at a minimum, we're looking for 5 stories. Your assignment today is to spend pretty much all of class brainstorming building designs. I'd recommend doing, I don't know, maybe somewhere like 5 to 8, just sketch, following out that 4-step process. These can be as messy as you want them to be. Then looking at those sketches and narrowing them down to your 2 favorite designs. If you feel really, really strongly about one is fine too, but I'm asking for 2 just to give you some options. Then you're going to take these and think about what might the modular construction be. So what are the pieces? Are you using a lot of rectangles? Are you using a lot of curves or organic shapes? So what are those modular pieces actually going to be? Then what you're actually going to turn into me is those 2 designs fleshed out a little bit more. You might want to draw them more thoroughly using a ruler if it's applicable. So if you have a lot of straight lines, it's going to make it a lot easier if you use a ruler. And then mark out the different units and document your thought process. So as a quick example, I was thinking about the word the slice and how it makes me think of cheese or cake. So I thought, I want to make a building that is sort of inspired by that idea. So this is what I started off as my initial sketch. And then I more thoroughly fleshed it out here. And as I was fleshing it out, I was thinking, maybe I'm going to have a slice taken out of the slice and have this be sort of this open courtyard area. And then I thought specifically of Swiss cheese. And I thought, what if I make the windows be circles or be ovals to sort of show the holes in the Swiss cheese? Now, I could go on and revise this and revise this, but I just wanted to sort of show you my thought process of how I might go about doing this. Then when I look at this, what would the actual pieces, the building units be? And I would have a lot of triangle forms stacked on top of one another. Then I might have some cylinders here to make some pillars to make this slice in between. And then to do these window areas, that means I would have to cut out on the bottom strip of my triangle, I'd have to cut out these archways to be able to put them together to make windows. So something that looks like this is what I'm expecting you to do for 2 different designs. So you'll submit 2 of these to me, and then I'll be sure to give you feedback for next time. Looking ahead, once we have finalized your designs, we'll have a conversation about it. And once you've decided which direction you want to go, then we'll have a conversation more about building and actually building and constructing those units to make them stable. So don't worry too much about that right now.